take a look at some news stories. So this is interesting. There is a new type of typo squatting. Typo squatting is an old attack where you buy a domain that is like a famous domain like Microsoft, but spelled wrong with like 2 T's or something. And then when people make that typographic error, they'll be sending data to you, and you can harvest email intended for someone else. And there's another technique where you make a repository in one of the code repositories like NPM Package Manager or the Python repositories with a misspelled name, hoping somebody will import it. And the new version of this uses AI, because if you ask AI, how do I get this function in Python or Node, it will often tell you the wrong name of the thing to import. And so you find out what mistakes AI makes, and then you buy them. And so this slop guard is something that will try to prevent that. And but I wonder, it monitors the AI outputs to just, I guess it somehow, this is what attackers do, right? They monitor AI outputs to find out what the names are, register them, and put them in there. So SlopGuard uses a 3-stage lazy loading trust score that automatically learns from package ecosystems without manual whitelists. So it looks, I guess, at the number of downloads. I see. So it does something to try to automatically score the packages from things like their downloads, the version history, and other things. Okay, so this is a pretty good idea. It automatically does what you ought to do anyway, which is before you download something, look at how many other people have downloaded it, how long has it been up, what other apps has this person made, what did it get many votes from users and things like that. Anyway, looked potentially useful. This is a real page on the White House website, and it is so over the top, it seems like a satire. I mean, this is like the videos Trump has been posting. He's been posting Democrats with Mexican hats. I guess the point is racism. The point is you're supposed to hate Mexicans, and the suggestion that Democrats are like Mexicans is just a way to smear them, and just a sort of outrageous way of showing off the classic things they want to say to throw mud on the Democrats. And one thing I'd say about this is, in first place, it's very undignified, beneath the dignity of the U.S. government, but everything Trump does. And the second thing is, I guess we're not going to have the government back anytime soon, because this is not how you negotiate to end the government shutdown. This is how you just heat up the battle so nothing will be resolved. So it's interesting, this guy's saying you shouldn't use Google Cloud because this guy had Google Cloud, he was using it for business, and they just shut him down 3 times without any sensible explanation, without any good point, and put him back. And I must say, the same thing happened to me to a large extent. I've several times been threatened by YouTube that they're going to throw me off for no apparent reason. We had a podcast back in the time of the pandemic where we talked about the different vaccines, and like 2 years later they flagged us for vaccine disinformation when there's nothing we said there that wasn't true. And the Google's content moderation system seems to be random and stupid. About a month ago or 2 months ago, they started flagging me every time after every class. I would upload 3 or 4 videos like I do after every class, and I have for like 6 years, and it said, we have unusual activity on your account. Someone keeps uploading these videos, and you must have been hacked. And they did that for like 2 weeks when I'm just doing exactly the same thing I've always done, and then they mysteriously quit. They do seem to have some kind of poorly trained AI deciding to throw people off for no good reason. I tend to sympathize with this guy's complaint. Anyway, so this is a little hard to understand. Now, as you probably know, everybody's making agentic browsers that have AI where you can ask it to do things for you, like make a reservation for my anniversary at a restaurant and a movie or something, and it'll figure out that stuff for you. So Perplexity made a bot, agentic browser, and it can make purchases on Amazon for you, logging in with your Amazon account. And now Amazon has demanded that they quit doing that, claiming that their terms of service means you can't have an automatic service making a purchase there, which is very strange. I don't understand how that's any of their business. I don't understand how they can tell. It's a strange idea. And of course, I think Amazon's going to make their own agentic browser if they haven't already done it, and that would be able to shop on their site. So it's an interesting issue. I guess we'll find out if you can actually punish someone for this. I guess they're going to try. All right, and so I saw many articles about this over the last week, how everybody's talking about putting data centers in space. And I said, this is stupid, this is ridiculous. How could it possibly ever make money? But apparently Google is taking it seriously, and they're trying to figure out how much it would take to make it cost effective. Now, they say solar panels in space are 8 times more efficient than solar panels on the ground. Okay, so you get power somewhat cheaper, but you have to pay the enormous cost of shipping that stuff into space, and then you can't upgrade or replace anything or repair it once you've got it up there. And so the other thing is, of course, the radiation destroys the chips. So they're testing chips by exposing them to radiation. And they say their calculations are that they'll only make money if the chips can actually last for at least 5 years, absorbing 750 rads of radiation, which I think is a lot. I'm not an expert in this, but I think a rad is like more than a lethal dose for a human. I think they rate them in millirads and microrads and stuff for human. That's a lot of radiation, and that's the point. Those chips in space get blasted with a lot of solar radiation, and it destroys them. So anyway, we're going to see. People are taking this seriously. I would have thought it was hopeless, but they're trying it. And so a crime group claims that they hacked Apache OpenOffice and that they have dumped out 23 gigabytes of data, including credit cards, social security cards, date of birth, driver's licenses, and so on. But Apache claims that they don't have any data like that stored anywhere on the servers, which indeed, why would they? Why would they have a bunch of credit card numbers at Apache? It's a free product. Users don't have to register. They don't have to prove their age or pay or anything. So I don't know why they would have any of that stuff. So they're saying these guys are just lying. So maybe they'll dump out this data and we'll see what they got. But it is quite common that criminals make false claims that they've hacked something. Often what they do is take old things that were already hacked before and repackage them and claim they've hacked something. And sometimes they just get confused. They hack into a server and they don't understand which server it was. Maybe more will be coming out here about this. So ICE agents are scanning people's faces, and they said they trust the result of a biometric face scan more than even if you have a document, like a passport or birth certificate, proving that you are a citizen. They say they will ignore that if the AI says that you're not a citizen, which is a really bad idea because these facial scans are not very reliable. But now they're passing it on to local police, and they say that all it will do is tell them either let this guy go because we recognize him as a citizen, or hold on to this guy and hand him over to ICE because we suspect he might not be a citizen. But in practice, I imagine it will probably be used in a much more brutal and illogical way than that, but I guess we'll find out. And so the Louvre, got burgled a couple weeks ago. People stole some expensive jewels. And now it turns out that in addition to people criticizing their physical security, their network security is apparently terrible. They're running versions of Windows that had terminated. They haven't put on their updates, haven't put on their patches, and the password for the system is just Louvre. So, and apparently they failed security audits and they didn't actually fix the problems that came up. This is extremely common. A lot of companies do this. A lot of government agencies do this. They don't have the staff or the knowledge or the money to actually implement security, and when somebody comes and examines their security, they find it to be terrible, and they usually don't really patch it because they just don't have the ability to do so. Zen 5 CPUs, well, I don't buy hardware hardly ever, so I don't really know which one it is, but apparently it's part of the processor. Processors now include random number generators built into the processor, and apparently it's defective. There are certain conditions the random number generator will create non-random numbers, and therefore that might lead to all kinds of problems. All your encryption might have predictable keys. So that's a problem. And one thing I didn't see is how you can fix it. It's hardware-based random number generator. Because I wonder if you can fix it with a software update of some kind, or if you have to replace the processor. They say we'll have microcode updates out soon, so I guess you can put on some kind of software patch in the processor to fix it when they bring it out, but it isn't out yet. Anyway, that's enough of the news. Let me stop this.